Allow the children
It's okay. Off your mind. It's okay.
She
Off your mind.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don't off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go sama us, call them hate speech. But fear not, my ego don't come. Ingo touchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My ego diary politico, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. This one not the off in mind, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. And in the touchlight every corner, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Nah. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Sure. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. Still them talk say make we off mind. But thank God say my ego don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My ego diary politico, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. This one not they off in mind, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that my yegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say my yegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Poor man picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say my yegun don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh yo yo. My yegun don't come, oh yo yo. My people make you shout, oh yo yo. My yegun don't come, oh yo yo. Man of the masses, my ego don't come, oh yo yo. My ego diary politico, oh yo yo. My ego la wamo to do. My ego diary, Ayégun làwa mọ̀ láwọn tó jódodo. Ayégun dáyàrí láìpẹ́ nọ́mbà wán. Ayégun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú. Ayégun dáyàrí láìpẹ́ nọ́mbà wán. Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube. Ayégun dáyàrí láìpẹ́ nọ́mbà wán. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Máyégún já wa sí. Ayégun dáyàrí láìpẹ́ nọ́mbà wán. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Máyégún dáyàrí láìpẹ́ nọ́mbà wán. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Máyégún máa wí. Máyégún dáyàrí láìpẹ́ nọ́mbà wán. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Máyégún dáyàrí láìpẹ́ nọ́mbà wán. Máyégún dáyàrí politico. Máyégún dáyàrí láìpẹ́ nọ́mbà wán. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Máyégún. Máyégún dáyàrí láìpẹ́ nọ́mbà wán. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgbọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Máyégún dáyàrí láìpẹ́ nọ́mbà wán. Àní Máyégún làwa mọ̀ tó dódòdó. Máyégún dáyàrí láìpẹ́ nọ́mbà wán. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Máyégún ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Máyégún ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. lórí YouTube.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn làjú.
Máyégún ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn làjú.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn làjú.
Máyégún ti dé.
Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn làjú.
Máyégún ti dé.
Kí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn làjú.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn làjú.
Máyégún ti dé.
Hello there. Good morning to you. Good afternoon to you. And good evening to you from wherever you are joining us. This is Máyégún live. Thank you very much for joining me. And please read the description of this broadcast. After reading the caption of the broadcast, like it and share it. Invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends. Tell them all that Máyégún today. And if you have done that already, thank you. This evening or tonight, I have a little bit of caveat, and this is for some of our new Templars. If you join this platform just maybe this past week or the past month, just recently, it is an opportunity to first to welcome you and say thank you for joining us. And at the same time, it is also an opportunity for us to remind you that this platform is not a fair platform to the ruiners of Nigeria to start with. This platform is not fair or nice to APC. Egbekegbe. Do not, for any reason at all, expect us to be nice, because being nice to APC, Egbekegbe, is to lie to you. APC, thiefnubu and his gang, they are the weapons fashioned against the ordinary people from that contraption. This platform is a safe haven for everyone that has one stone or more to grind with Nigeria. We are not friends with the ruiners of Nigeria. So do not begin to ask us to respect criminals in Nigeria. Do not ask us or ask me to respect the rogues or be nice. You would be pressing the anger button of not just of mine, but of so many people on the platform. So every Sunday is considered the Sunday sermon on Máyégún's Diary Politico. It is also the day that we always have our no holds barred session, which means we say things as they are without any holding back. We do not hold back. So if you are a politically correct person, the ones that likes to be, politically correct, this platform is not for you. For the sake of your mental health, if you are a thiefnubu supporter, openly or in closet, the ideal thing is for you to unsubscribe and stop following this channel. It's for your own good. Because you are never going to see anything that is going to make you happy here. In Yoruba, inu abimoku oke ń dùn. Yeah, every APC, Egbekegbe supporter or follower on Mayegun's Diary Politico, they will never, inu wọn ò ní dùn. Shongoba is every Ronuku on Mayegun's Diary Politico, we never have any reason to be joyful. So if you are a one Nigerianist, for your own good, you better unsubscribe now. I don't know if I make myself clear enough. Also, if you are a religious person, the ones that will defend your God or defend your pastors or defend your imam, Mayegun's Diary Politico is not for you. I'm trying to be fair here for the sake of any newcomer on Mayegun's Diary Politico. If you are the type that believes that we need to pray for Nigeria, unsubscribe from this channel now for your own good, Neo. And if you are also a unity beggar, the unity beggars are those who continue to ignore our differences and believes that we need to come together to rescue that contraption. For your own sake, don't follow this channel. Or else, wherever your eyes see, you go take on like that, oh. Thank you. Then everyone else, if you know that you are tired of that contraption called Nigeria, and you are also ready for the gidigbo, yeah, then we can possibly say we have something in common. Don't preach peace in the face of those who want to take our lives or those who are already taking our lives. We want those who are radicalized or who are willing to be radicalized. Don't preach respect to criminals who have no respect for us. And don't preach your God or your sky daddy here when we are dealing with the real life issues. If you can stay safe off all this, right? If you can stay off all this, maybe we have something or a lot in common. Everyone else, you are welcome to Mayegun's Diary Politico. And to be honest with you, I, as number one, I am in support and my advocacy, and the reason why you have this channel is that to encourage everyone to support the breakup of Nigeria. Should get here. Sometimes we can ignore those of you that will come on to Mayegun's Diary Political and say our country, save our country. But don't make it an attitude, don't make it an habit. You get that? So don't start acting funny when you hear a lot of us talk about the breakup of that contraption. Don't start acting new or brand new here. More than 70% of the people on this platform want Nigeria to break up. Do you understand? Then the remaining 30% are those who do not want this contraption. And to them, there are other alternatives before the final breakup of Nigeria. So don't act funny here. And don't preach to us here about one Nigeria. Do you understand? So majority of us actually want and we support the breakup of Nigeria. So I hope that is clear too. Until that breakup, we will continue to preach the radicalization of majority of you by telling you the truth. Why Nigeria is not one country and will never be one country. Do you understand? Thank you. Now, moving forward. From the reports that we have gathered, Nigeria is in the most desperate place as we speak. Nigerians are in the most, in the worst place they've ever been since the amalgamation of that contraption. No thanks to APC, Egbekegbe, they've succeeded in impoverishing generations, including the generations yet unborn. And they are doing it gleefully, with pride, even though many, many others are hoping and waiting for a day that is called the day of doom. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. APC, Egbekegbe, they have destroyed Nigeria, divided Nigeria, impoverished generations, and they are still very much on it. But the ones that sometimes it's like a sweet sour situation is that of the northern Nigeria. 2 years ago, one of the audacity of the APC, Egbekegbe, was to break the, in fact, they crossed, the line that shouldn't have been crossed when they pushed their Muslim ticket. They dared everyone. People know that they will be rejected, but they had another plan. And that other plan was to rig themselves in and force themselves in, but they didn't do it alone. They coerced, maybe coercion is not the right word anyway, but I don't know. But I will use the coercion. They coerced the Islamic Sharia North into believing that one Muslim is good, 2 Muslims is better. So therefore, Muslim tickets was in the interest of northern Nigeria, religion to be precise. And everyone knows that in northern Nigeria, they will kill anybody for their religion. Evil-minded sheikhs, clerics, they mounted their podium or their pulpits across northern Nigeria, preaching this hateful message of Muslim tickets in a supposed secular country, a country where you have the Muslims, the Christians. You also have those who don't even believe in any of the religions. But since the rivalry is all about, or is all about control, so these Islamic jihadists, short-sighted lunatics, reading Larubawa in northern Nigeria, they threatened everyone. So they gave thiefnubu the leverage to legitimize the fraud that they were about to perpetrate all over Nigeria. I don't know what he promised them. I don't know what they expected. But right now, they are the most crying just 2 years or 1.5 years into thiefnubu's illegitimate regime. Now, they are telling us that thiefnubu has disappointed them. No, not disappointed. thiefnubu has betrayed them. That's what they said. They said thiefnubu's policies are un-Islamic. Okay? They said these policies have rendered them vulnerable, wretched. And when you look at those who shouted on the top of their own lungs, right, that this is never going to be in the interest of you, the North, or the South. In northern Nigeria, they were pushing religious agenda. In southern Nigeria, they are pushing the tribal agenda. Both the North and the South today have been subjected to thiefnubu's horrible policies. And as for the country, divided more than ever, right? So thiefnubu removed the subsidy and he gave more money to the states to start with. But the corruption of the ruling class in Nigeria continued to make mess of the money they are giving to them. Unfortunately, right, the money thiefnubu shared, 16 million naira each, given to some of the major clerics in northern Nigeria, is no longer enough to hide the consequences of thiefnubu's regime and his policy. So Nigerians are in the worst place ever as we speak. And to some of the Southerners who felt more or less like, Shebi, we told you. It is also a big sort of an encouragement to what the Southerners have always been complaining about, to say, hey, Northerners or the northern part of Nigeria over the years have grown to become the parasites. The narrative of the poor husband and the rich wife poor husband, the North, lazy, unproductive, a parasite, feeding off the rich wife, the South, hardworking, productive. But they said the marriage is for life, is non-negotiable. Right now, it will like say the marriage has gone back to the negotiation table because the North believes that they have miscalculated. Not like they actually really voted to bring thiefnubu in. The Islamic North, the tribal West, these two agendas pushed by thiefnubu couldn't make him president to start with without the support and the manipulation of Yakubu of INEC. However, the Islamic North, who threatened other religions, that if they were not voting for thiefnubu, they better not come out to vote at all, or they will be killed, because voting against Muslim ticket was considered as a blasphemy, and a blasphemy against Islam. So a blasphemy which has now turned to a total regret. I have a video. I will start with that one. I think we should start with that. Where the clerics are now saying thiefnubu betrayed them. No idea what he promised them. But now we can see the tears everywhere.
Ai wata rana ina zaune nan masallacin Juma'a da Malam Yusuf san bai wani bayani. Sai ga haushin shi muke ji. Hadda ni.
To abin da ya rage mana mu ɗan arewa mulkin nan shi ya rage mana shi kadai a hannunmu. Idan muka yi kuskure muka yi sakaci muka bari mulkin nan ya fita hannunmu, wallahi billahi za mu gane kuranmu. Wallahi sai mun zo mun ce gara Buhari so miliyan. Wallahi ina tabbata mana. Wallahi in aka ce mun yi kuskure mun bari mulkin nan ya fita a hannunmu, wallahi sai mun yi nadama ta ban tsoro da ban mamaki.
Yace fa satazkuruna ma aqulu lakum, ashe ranar za ta zo gashi nan kuma Allah ya kawo. Wallahi tallahi ga ta nan muna ciki.
Saka malan da alheri.
Malala saka ma da alheri. Mun ga baje haushin ka gashi nan yanzu muna ta ji haushin juna mu ma. Wallahi tallahi a nan garin wannan abun ya faru ranar Juma'a, kuma wasu daga cikin ku suna masallacin.
Muna nan. Duk su ma suna cikin.
A lokacin nan fa ni iya imani na da Allah gani nike malam kawai na faɗa da musulunci. Wallahi tallahi wannan shine abin da ke cikin raina. Wa'azin yake amma zuciyata kaman ta fashe.
Ayyo. Gaskiya ne dai.
Itaqu firasatul mu'min. Fa innahu yanzuru bi nurillahi. Mala Allah saka ma da alheri.
Amin.
A yanzu da muka ji a jikin mu. Wallahi tallahi. Allah ya kiyaye. Wa ufawidu amri ila Allah. Inna Allah basirun bil ibad. Allah na ganin duk abin da bai ci aiwatar.
Alabamsa. Someone said that they were not complaining when Bokwari was there. Now they are complaining and all of that. Well, you may have an argument there. But one thing is this. It took Bokwari 8 years to bring Nigeria to a terrible place that people were still able to at least afford to eat. Now, you see where thiefnubu has taken you in just 18 months. By the time thiefnubu is able to do that 8 years, una go to sell una children for food. Or you probably will be slaughtering them for food when thiefnubu is done with you. All the economic indices, they have shown that thiefnubu go kill some of you. Now ain't go kill all of now. See, there is something about leadership. It is called empathy. And that must always be the guide on any policy you are pushing. It is not as if to say, to those of you who are using that theory, the theory of they were not complaining when Bokwari was there, right? So that theory would have been like, oh, they are the ones suffering now. Others are not suffering. So that's why they are just complaining. That is where your own argument is flawed. Every part of Nigeria right now is facing that brunt of these directionless policies of thiefnubu they are just somehow louder in their own rhetoric, Sabi. When thiefnubu is done with all of una, whether you are from the south or you are from the north, if you live long enough to tell this story, they will tell you, I mean, you will tell people like, waiting your eye go see, your mouth not go finish talking. That's exactly what it's going to be like. And this is just the beginning. Yeah, it's fair to possibly laugh at them, as some would do, especially talking about this their tax bill. When thiefnubu's tax bill is sorted, which I think is going to, when it is done, out of the 19 states in northern Nigeria, now only 2 will survive, including the middle belt that used to be the food basket of Nigeria, which the Fulani terrorists have wrecked and destroyed beyond anything. Only 2 states in northern Nigeria will survive to some extent. In southern Nigeria, out of the 17 states in southern Nigeria, when you remove Lagos, when you remove Rivers, when you remove Akwa Ibom, maybe slightly by Yelsa, maybe, you know, then you remove Ogun State. And then, you know, maybe, I'm using maybe here because it is actually worse than some of you can imagine. So maybe Imo State. The rest, they won't last 1 year before everywhere goes scatter and bust. It is what they have done and the way they have structured that contraption, so to say. However, the North, especially these clerics, if you play it back, if you roll it back to 2022, these guys were they were actually threatening people. It was more or less like if any infidel, they called us infidel, all of us that are not Muslims, we are infidels. If any infidel is declared winner, they will start a war in northern Nigeria. Yes, it was that bad. So right now, they are now crying that thiefnubu has betrayed them, thiefnubu has disappointed them, and all of that. You know? Somebody is asking me why Imo. You better read it very well. Do you think the tax bill is going to favor you in the South? Is that what you are thinking? Some of you are not thinking then. I've heard people who are guilty enough to say, you see, there are states in the southern part of Nigeria, if they don't give them that allocation, monthly allocation, they will bankrupt in 2-3 months. Yes. They will not be able to pay salary or pay pay any contractors or anything at all. They will be in red if they don't give them those allocation every month. Probably you should check your states and see what they are actually getting themselves, and see if they can survive without the federal allocation too. Because I mean, that is what will lead to that their own little civil war in northern Nigeria, which the South seems to be in bed with. Like, let's do it. Everybody go generate their own money. Kind of. You'll be surprised that some of them will never succeed, including some of the eastern states too, in case if you are from the east, and you are telling yourself that you are okay. No, you're not. Anyway, the point tonight is that whatever thiefnubu is dealing whatever card thiefnubu is dealing everyone right now, it seems that the North are the ones, let me say these northern clerics are the ones who are pretty much like feeling it more or scared more. You know, they're like pretty much like the ones who are like so scared as we speak. And according to them, thiefnubu, whether it could be like dragging or that's another one. They are saying that whether it is going to be now by dragging or whether it's going to be by war, they must drag him out of that asshole rock. A wishful thinking, if you ask me. It's like a wishful thought. Because it wasn't their votes to start with that actually made thiefnubu your president. It was the Yakubu of INEC and others who worked in cahoots to bring thiefnubu to power. So, if those who sold the religious card in probably seeking power, because I think another thing, this one is just an opinion, another thing that got a lot of them, right? That got a lot of them pretty much hooked on that promise was because, as some said, it said because thiefnubu appeared like somebody that was probably going to die soon. And if that should happen, their calculation then was Shitty Man will be a president, right? And when Shitty Man becomes president, the power returns back to northern Nigeria. Now, all of that prediction, all of that expectation have now gone to the wind or gone with the wind. So the desperation is now on a steroid. So when thiefnubu started this campaign for, when he started this campaign for this tax, well, it started with removal of subsidy. Then it got to that part of the tax reform, which has triggered so much to the point that they are now threatening their own lawmakers from northern Nigeria. Here is one of them.
I heard somebody saying that we are doing this because of you northerners. I was disappointed because why will you be insisting on doing something in my favor that I don't want? On what grounds? Have I spoken the mind of the Northeast region members? Thank you. I heard somebody saying that we are doing this because of you northerners. I was disappointed because why will you be insisting on doing something in my favor that I don't want? On what grounds? Have I spoken the mind of the Northeast region members? Thank you.
That was in their National Assembly. So let me give you this information, just for the sake of education, okay? This information is important. Because of the corruption of Nigeria, right? Nigeria currently have 36 states. And ignorance is not a bliss. So somebody has been running mad in the comments. I mean, you said I lied. Your ignorance can be a little bit, can make you pretty much like so stupid beyond anything. But for the sake of our listeners, out of 36 states in Nigeria, right? 24 of them, it's only 12 states in Nigeria that can possibly survive without the federal allocation, the monthly federal allocation. Then plus Abuja, making it 13. 24 of Nigerian states, they would die naturally if they don't give them money from Abuja. And it's all going to start with the reduction in how much they get. To start with, it will start with the reduction in what they get. And you know something? Because all these states, they are like a mini central government too, where their governors are always living like kings. So I don't know where you come from. I can give you the names of these states that will never survive. Now you, in your own ignorance, because education in Nigeria is worthless, it's useless to some of you, though. So I am not going to be too surprised. But for the sake of my listeners, let me give you some of these names. In fact, it is actually not 12, it's 11 states that will survive, that can survive to some extent without the federal government allocation, without sharing of that money they do every month. So I'll give you some here. You know, states like Bayelsa, despite the massive oil money they give to them, without that allocation every month, Bayelsa would die a natural death. I was even wrong to actually think that my Bayelsa will survive. Ondo State is oil producing state. Ondo State will die a natural death without federal allocation. Yobe, Sokoto, Taraba, Plateau, Oyo State, Oyo, that big Oyo, will die a natural death without federal allocation in Yoruba land. Niger, Nasarawa, Kogi, Kebbi, Katsina, Jigawa, Gombe, Ekiti, Ebonyi, Borno, Benue, Bauchi, Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Abia, and Delta. You see, Delta was supposed to be a rich state, because of their oil, they would die a natural death without the federal allocation. So wherever you come from, or any exaggeration you are giving to yourself, you better kind of like read and see the mess they have made of some of your states by these different rogues. So the moment thiefnubu said tax return nonsense and all of that is done, from southern part of Nigeria, let me give you the names again, including the middle belt part of Nigeria. Bayelsa, oil producing states. Ondo, Oyo, on Ekiti, Ebonyi, Abia State, Cross River State, Akwa Ibom State, Delta State, they would die a natural death. So I don't know what you are telling yourselves. So some of you that think that it is only the northern Nigeria that is a bit of a parasite on this national money. No, it's not just them. Yeah, you can know about them, right? But there are lazy states in southern part of Nigeria, mismanaged beyond what you can even imagine. So if you don't know that before now, maybe you do now. And you can even research that. You can search that yourself. Out of 36 states in Nigeria, plus Abuja 37, only 12 can survive to some extent and still pay salary. When Bokwari became your president in 2015, do you know how many states that were unable to pay salaries despite collecting federal allocation? 24 of them were unable to pay salaries of their workers. When Bokwari came, he gave them bailout twice to go and clear the outstanding debt. Some of them are owing salaries to up to 2 years, 3 years unpaid salaries of workers, pension, you know, those 2-3 years unpaid salaries. Alex Sotti in Abia recently just cleared almost 12 months unpaid salaries, gratuities and all that, just recently. This was a state that was collecting allocation before now. So if you come here to tell me that I'm lying, maybe it's because you are so ignorant. And, you know, ignorant people are very loud as well. You know, some of you are so loud. Abia will survive. Shengbo Wiri. Because Alex Sotti is there. Let them stop that allocation. The only thing that can actually make some of them survive is when you have what is called the true federalism, where the states are allowed to make their own money and pay taxes to the center. And that's exactly not what they are doing. It is not. Out of, what do you call it? Start with internally generated revenue. Abia State, Anambra State, Ebonyi State, Imo State, Enugu State, the 5 of them, they generated just about 60 billion or 70 billion or so. 70 billion naira, 5 states in 1 year. That is far lesser than what Ogun State alone is generating in a year. So you can beat your chest and be like, yeah, we will survive with mouth. You better go and read more in the state of finances, or the state of the economy of all these states in Nigeria. You better read them and not just jump on and say, because you are, you know. Anyway, it's a bit of a distraction though, right? Now, the point here is this. thiefnubu's policies, right? As some people are going to possibly brace up for whatever is coming, right? But there are others that do not want to brace up So they would rather use the same old technique, which is scatter everything, kind of. Because if anything changes from the status quo, as it is obviously going to, they believe that it is going to exterminate them totally, and they are probably going to be like, they are going to be wiped off the what do you call it, the financial arrangement of Nigeria, and they won't let that happen, even though they probably have no much control over that as we speak. The level at which the Nigerians, or let me say the state at which the Nigerians have been pushed to right now, the report is that those of you who are living abroad, the Abroadians, who have felt much like, you are under so much pressure from people calling you from Nigeria. You are ignoring their calls, ignoring their text messages, ignoring all of that stuff. No, Edo is put on as, one of the states that will likely survive, but unfortunately, Obaseki has destroyed Edo State. Do you know that when Obaseki was to become their governor 8 years ago, the total debt of Edo State was put at 75 or so billion naira? Do you know the debt of Edo State today? It's over 500 billion naira. That's the debt of Edo State. So the chunk of Edo State money goes into repayment of debt, in case if you need to know. And with this guy that is now your governor in Edo State, you can just imagine what this is going to be like in another 1 or 2 years. You can only imagine it. So Obaseki, and the story is the same almost everywhere. You guys just need to check, you need to check your individual states, right? And see the financial status of your individual states. And then you will realize that somehow, although it may be too late then, right? thiefnubu's policies and the rest of them is actually not really in your favor if the policy is not about the total fiscal re-engineering, which allows you to earn your own money as each state, earn your own money, or possibly allow you to choose your own leaders that can create wealth that will not depend on the foreign debt or federal allocation. Like the chance to be able to elect or choose your own leaders that knows how to create wealth. In Nigeria, the elite will always be fine. Your state governors will always be fine. Now, the ordinary people, the normal workers, infrastructure in your state that will suffer. Even if they have to give them only 10% of what they used to get from Abuja. The criminal politicians will still spend the money on themselves. They'll still spend it on buying themselves cars. Loot the money. But the ordinary people are the ones that will actually suffer the more. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not as if to say we are in control of what thiefnubu and his gang can do. We are not. In the way Nigeria is structured, he is going to get away, and whatever he wants, he's going to get. Until when he has no such power. When Bokwari was there, he was like a bull in a Chinese shop. A Chinese shop. They were everywhere. They were looting. They were ransacking everywhere, whatever they could get, until they do not have that power anymore. Now they don't have that power. So until thiefnubu doesn't have that power anymore, he will do whatever he likes, and the people will pay the price. So it's not as if you have control over it. None of us have any control over it. But you see, for the northern Nigeria that are deluding themselves, especially the clerics who are now screaming betrayer, right? It's not as if they have anything they can do. There is no chance that they can do anything to change their situation. Until probably when they have the chance, like they are planning to drag him out of the asshole rock. But I don't really see that happen. The only thing is that thiefnubu will rig himself again. And when he finishes rigging himself, there may be riots will break out here and there, but you are more divided now than ever, where the tribal division, religious division have become institutionalized in that contraption. So thiefnubu and his gang will always leverage on that. So if the Northerners or the Hausas and the Fulanis and all, the Northerners generally, whenever they rise up against him, he is expected to be defended by the Ronukus of the South, who easily just say, oh, the North, they are only upset because they are not in power. Sure, you get. So this divisive line will always kind of blur the, the wrong, terrible policies of thiefnubu that has rendered both Northerners and the Southerners poorer. But you see that tribal religious line, will always sort of, blur the reality, the economic ruin of thiefnubu. It is what it is, you will say. And it is really, it is kind of like a fancy to watch and see these guys throwing their tantrums. The clerics, they were threatening people this time last year. I'm sorry, not this time last year, this time 2 years ago. Abi, now don't forget all their gatherings in Kano. All the terrorist groups, Islamic terrorists from northern Nigeria, they gathered in Kano. And they threatened everyone in northern Nigeria. That is, if you are against the Muslim tickets, you are considered to be against Islam. Today, they are full of regrets and they are begging for the way out. They are now threatening the man they threatened all of us for. Imagine they threatened the infidels. Today, they are now threatening the man they threatened everyone for. thiefnubu. And this is just the beginning. You will say. So one idiot, this one that said, there are levels of citizenship in Nigeria. You remember this mofo? In a single day, he tweeted about 4 tweets. The first one was that thiefnubu's policy is to support the poor. The same way they told them removal of subsidy was to support the poor. So the tax reform bill is to support it will benefit them. That same day, the were changed again. To Wallahi, I genuinely thought I had understood this tax reform bill. I think this is the second one. He said, oh, the tax reform bill will only bring more hardship to northern Nigeria, just like the subsidy removal did. Reject, blah, blah, blah. Now, this is just so you know that you should be very careful for what you wish for. And in this instance, majority of them are now cutting Peter Obi, unsurprisingly. So yesterday, Peter Obi was in Adamawa, Yola, Adamawa, where athiefku's school, university, was doing a convocation or so. And Peter Obi was their special guest of honor to come and deliver a speech. And as usual, he was there to talk about the economy, the opportunity, the lack of it, and the rest of that in that contraption. And that has triggered a bit of a conversation, in fact, heated conversation between the atikulooters as well as the obidients. Now, 2 years ago, the atikulooters said that they would rather that thiefnubu is declared winner than for Peter Obi to be the president of that contraption. So now that everyone is now feeling because they are like SPV boys, right? These are guys who ordinarily, it's shown that athiefku don't get any real supporters. Whoever is supporting athiefku is doing so because he's either paid or he's promised something. Similarly, so that whoever is supporting thiefnubu, it is either they are paid to do that or they are expecting to be paid to do that. And if they don't get that payment, they are ready to move on. majority of those who were with athiefku, and then attacking attacking the obedience and all of that. In fact, the atikulooters and then the batidiot, they were united against you, the obedient, remember? In 2022, ahead of that, your charade election. They justified the attacks on the obedient, the brutalization of the obedient. The atikulooters justified that. Because to them, if athiefku couldn't get it, then thiefnubu should get it, not Obi. In fact, they used their movement to push their Igbophobia because of this Obi, if you remember. Now, because of Obi and athiefku together yesterday, so they kicked off a new internet bromance where there is like, you know what, let us come together. And now the argument now is athiefku will do one term to save Una, to rescue all of Una from thiefnubu. So atikulooters are saying athiefku will do one term and then he will hand over to Obi. Well, I'm going to take you to Yola first. What did Obi tell them? They have got a lot of them dreaming of athiefku Obi to come and chase thiefnubu out. Let's go to that Yola. It's a long speech.
My leader and my dear elder brother, His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, GCON, I salute you, sir. While we were driving to this city, event today, I did the sacrifice, the immense sacrifice is put in. Because I'm sure if it was for profit, he wouldn't invest his money here. If it was for profit, he wouldn't even dare go into education. I'm a businessman, so I know where there's profit and where there's not. So I thank you for this sacrifice. The sacrifice is born out of his belief in education. Education remains the biggest tool for development. It's been proved globally, the more educated a country is, the more developed the country is. And nobody has ever been able to say anything otherwise. So I thank you for the decision, and I thank you for the students. I think today, while we're discussing our family, it is your day. Recently, I came across a little bit of a story where it says, families no longer live together. And I was interested in that. And what I read, because of the difficult situation we found ourselves in Africa, particularly in Nigeria, families are separated. Families are separated and going to live in different countries where they will not have opportunity of living together. Because even parents now are asking the younger ones here to leave to where they'll find a better life, considering the difficulties that are here. So on that, I must thank the students of this university and thank their parents that are here. You must congratulate yourself. I know some of you want to jump, but please, thank you for being here. I look at the cultural diversity. When the president was coming here, he told me every state is represented here, and several countries are represented here. And when I look at this, I look at the future of the country. I look at what impact it will be. You're being trained here to be a leader. And that's what education is all about. Education equips you. It's the only asset, the only currency, the only capital you need for tomorrow. And when you have that, it helps you to build that better and contribute immensely. So for me today, students, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about leadership and lessons for your own future. And I'm speaking to the young ones, not the people on this side, but people on this side. Because I know that your future will be great. And you need to be equipped for that. That is what you're learning here. And that is the journey of leadership. I know today you've seen how Africa, and Nigeria in particular, is in their strength. And often the time we shy away from discussing what brought us here and why we're here and how we can correct it, or we refuse to learn, or we have to learn believing that our country is different. It cannot change, it cannot be the same thing. But I often disagree. I said, we live in community of nations. All we need to do is to do the right things. Those right things are available to us. This year, one of the 3 Nobel Prize winners for economics, James Robinson, said, cited Nigeria as a country that knows what to do to prosper, but refuses to do it. And he went on to show that your development is intensely linked to your political process. Of course, we followed that famous book by qheb, The Trouble with Nigeria. And he said, the trouble with Nigeria is simply and squarely a failure of leadership. And he went on to quote, there's nothing wrong with Nigerian character, whether or climate or water. The only thing that is wrong is simply a failure of the leaders to live up to their responsibility.
And leadership problem leads to followership problems too. Or maybe not followership problems will kind of create a leadership problem, because leaders are the reflection of their followers, so to say. Well, it is Peter Obi talking to the supposed leaders of tomorrow to make them possibly see the positivity of Nigeria as usual. I want us to listen to the other part of, because this is where he started talking about leadership. This initially he told them, don't japa. The fact that you are still here means that there is a chance for Nigeria. That's a private university. You need to have a lot of money to go to athiefku's university. Even the university itself is a creation of corruption, because athiefku created this university from the proceeds of corruption when he was the vice president of Nigeria. They destroyed Nigeria education to fill in the gap. They created their own university. Obasanjo created Bell's University. Atiku created his own AUN, American University of Nigeria, it's called, I think. Well, let's listen to the other part of the speech before we go to the next thing.
And you can go on and on that trajectory. But today we are celebrating our founder, and we have to go to the And people ask me every day, so what is leadership? And I'll tell you a story of what happened today. While we were coming here, on the flight, the pilot came and said, we're going to fly at a certain level, and if there's a problem in that we should not worry. If there's a problem in that level because of the weather situation now, Hamilton, he will go to a level where we'll be comfortable. And when the pilot went into the cockpit, and I turned to the people coming with me, I said, this is leadership. If you're looking for leadership, don't go too far to find it. It's a very simple thing. A leader must be competent. He must be qualified. The only reason why we enter this place is because we have somebody who is a qualified pilot. If the driver that brought us from the airport have entered this place, none of us will enter here because he's not qualified. So if you're looking for a leader, it's that simple. A leader must be somebody who has the capacity. And capacity is very simple. It's the ability to do it. I said, even if this pilot was competent and he was staggering and he was drunk, I entered this cockpit, none of us will enter here. But he wasn't doing that. A leader must be somebody who has compassion, cares about the people, because what the leadership is all about the people. That is why he came to us, to tell us, because he knows that when the place starts shaking, we will start feeling what is happening. A leader must be a visionary. So being a visionary, in all this combined, is telling us, please, don't worry, you'll be okay. Imagine if he didn't tell us that, he just take off and he starts shaking. We will not. So a leader must be a visionary, a mobilizer of people. He must learn. He must listen. That is why I've learned what they're now transmitting to us. I told them, I said, this is simply what we've chosen. We've chosen our own world. I listened to the young ones when I came into this university. Everywhere I go, I want to listen to the people. How is your school? Fantastic. How is this? Fantastic. How is your visit? But I don't know that. Or did you see? Because you didn't see the leader. How do you feel about your founder, the good man? Because he was a good man. So if he was, they will tell you. Because that's what I said. Don't ask the people who will tell you. Ask the people who are in it. And they are saying to me, yes, the school is good. I walked down with the VC. I was asking him, do you have the school of nurses? Do you have the school of medical sciences? Do you have the school of... Because I want to learn about these people. Trust people. It is not the best important. Because they did have this quality that I've told you. Must be competent, must have the capacity, he must have compassion, and somebody who is willing to learn. And all these characters I've mentioned, you cannot get it by being tribal. You can't replace tribal with competence. You cannot replace it by religion. If you're competent, you're competent. So when somebody says, Peter is not competent, don't tell them they are an evil person. They are not looking for an evil person, they're looking for a competent person. Don't replace it with something else. That's not what they are looking for. They are looking for somebody who is competent. If they say you have no capacity, don't tell them you are from the north. We are not looking for somebody from the north. We're looking for somebody with capacity to deliver. And when we're looking for compassion, it's the same thing. In all this, if you now have this, we've refused to embrace again, because I was telling you, we've refused to embrace clear, measurable, unknown tenets of development. So we tend to create our own. We tend to create our own. So you have your own statistics, you have your own indices, you have your own excuses. And I said, that is not how a leader works. A leader goes with the known parameters of development. A leader is not somebody who gives excuses. So don't start telling us when freezer take over this university, there's a problem. When I say there's a problem, whenever you take up anything, there must be a problem you will beat. And you are hired to solve it. Freezer, when you are hired, did you come for an interview? You are not hired to start.
Is here talking about leadership qualities and the expectation from the expectations from a leader, or the expectation of a leader. When you are in leadership position, there are some expectations of you. You must have compassion. You must have empathy. You must be willing to learn. And it is not like do as I say, not do as I do. So that is its own way of throwing stones to the quality of a leadership that you have in that contraption today. Something that he personally is a big contrast from, so to say, right? Is someone who obviously has a compassion. He's got empathy, but he exists in a place where some of the people themselves are more interested in what they call the strong leaders. Somebody who can make decisions, take tough decisions, even if the decisions are stupid decisions that will put the lives of many of them in danger. So Nigerians prefer a tough leaders who doesn't even think. And thiefnubu, the senseless thiefnubu and his rogues, even though sometimes I want to think, even though I don't believe that, right? I want to think that these guys have no sense. Then on the other hand, I kind of get to know that nothing that the likes of Bukwari did that was a coincidence. No. Similarly, whatever thiefnubu is doing right now is not because he no get sense. So it is deliberate, intentional. And a lot of people can possibly give it a different meaning, right? But whatever they are doing is intentional. When they floated Nigeria, when they removed the subsidy, they knew what they were doing. Okay? And a lot of them have become stupendously rich. And this is like being like richer than who they were, where they were before. These are now multi-billionaires in dollars, stolen money, diverted money. It's intentional. So when they floated the Nigerian currency, the naira, whereby they are now, what do you call it, backing it with dollars, right? Pumping dollars to defend the naira, and the dollar goes into their private pockets, and the naira continues to be worthless. It's all intentional. They knew what they were doing, and they still do. So I am not going to say they are senseless, as some would say. They don't even think all these policies there, and that is why they can't reverse them. You know, when you make a policy, or you try to make a policy, and it backfires, it will impoverish your people. You can reverse it or amend it. That is where the quality of leadership comes in, where you can be like, that's not our intention. We did not intend to make life miserable for you this long. I don't think this is working. Let us adjust it and see if we can reduce this. You know what I mean? But they keep telling you that you have to continue in that hardship as they continue to tighten the rope around your neck, the noose around your neck, because it's intentional. It makes them richer more and more. And they are telling themselves, there's no point. People will survive anyway. Those who will die will die. No empathy, no sympathy, no nothing. just basically about themselves and their circle. So that's him talking about leadership where you do not have one in that contraption. Again, I'm going to let you listen to the rest. I apologize for the poor audio, all right? It's really, really terrible. But that's the best I could get to share that, what happened at the UAUN at Athiefku's University. This one is the shortest one. It's almost over.
You go for an interview. You are not hired to start telling them about the problem.
Also, a quick one. In truest sense of it, none of you who actually have businesses would employ any of these rogues to come and be the CEO of your company or to come and run your own private business for you. None of you. None of you can give your office, your business to Bokwari to come and head. None of you will give your businesses to thiefnubu to come and lead. So if you can't do that, why would you be comfortable in leaving a whole country to criminals like thiefnubu and gang? I'll be back.
You go for an interview. You are not hired to start telling them about the problem. You are hired to solve the problem. That's leadership. So don't start reminding them when you came in what you saw. No, you are hired to solve that problem. And that's what they did at all. And when you have all this, there's a measurable indices of development or of achieving your word as a leader. This university is doing well when he came. There's a few problems. His job is to make it look better. If you see what he was telling me when he came, oh, look at what we are doing. Look at what we want to do. Look at what we want to do. Look at this, look at this. That shows the leadership. He wants to improve on what he meant. Not the other way around. Not giving excuses. That shows the sign of a leader. In development, and I'm using Nigeria as the case in point. I know the same problem in Africa, but I'm going to use Nigeria. In development, there's a clear measure of development. And all this is what I was just telling my people when I was coming this morning, because quite frankly, when I asked the chairman, where is the topic I'm going to speak on? He said, when you come, speak on anything. So I'm trying to speak on anything. So this morning, I told the people who were in play with me, I said, what are we going to talk about now? What are we going to do? That's why I started with my experience with the power. I said, the clear measurement of development is what you call Human Development Index. It is number one measure, and it's classified low, medium, high, and very high. And there's a parameter for measuring it. So you can create or do your own make-believe. And that parameter is number one is health. Health is wealth. The more healthier your country, the better. And that is measured by life expectancy, the longevity of your life. So it is not something you can claim, I know what I'm doing. No. That measurable that everybody can see is there for everybody to see. You can't create your own. Number two is education, which is why I said number two actually drives number one. But then you have to be healthy to be able to move on. Number two is education. It is you can't create your own. You can't say it doesn't matter, I don't care whether people are educated or not. No. The more the society is educated, the more developed it is. And it's improving everywhere. So you cannot say, oh, I don't need education. No, if you don't need it, then you're headed south.
Which is where Nigeria is headed. Don't worry, I know it can be boring for some of you. You know, you prefer something that something that is more, well, funny, or I don't know, or better still, that gene, that Nigerian gene is kicking in. Oh, it's boring. Oh, tell us something else. And that is why you have the likes of thiefnubu as presidiot of that contraption. I know. It is what it is. The fact that people do not have the kind of a patience, right, to analyze things per se. Rather, people will tell you that we want actions and we want actions, but sometimes there is something called the build-up to what will later become an actionable event or actionable things, right? So in what you have in that contraption, where education has been completely destroyed. Nobody, they will say to you now and say education is school is a scam. That is why a certificate forger is signing an MOU in faraway France, and they called it critical mineral resources, MOU on critical resources. That's part of what thiefnubu just signed in France with Macron. Now, to those of you who know the stories of how the Francophone countries are currently chasing away France from their countries, thiefnubu and Dele Alakori, they announced to Nigerians this morning that they have signed a deal with France. And according to them, this deal is for France, right, to come and extract the critical mineral resources from Nigeria. You see there are 32 out there, right? So what they mean is that some of the mineral resources that Niger Republic, Mali, Chad, Burkina Faso, Senegal are tired of seeing the French companies take from their countries. Nigeria is welcoming them. Not that they are likely going to declare what these mineral resources are and how much Nigeria is going to be making from them. But that would be like a long one, far-fetched. We're talking about the what do you call it? Their tax bill, in which somehow some of my listeners or contributors on the same subject last night said this will kind of give this supposed northern states a bit of disclosure, where they have been doing illegal mining, stealing, well, we can call it, if it's illegal, that means it's stealing. They have been stealing some of these mineral resources and they have not been declaring them. So now they will have to disclose them. But there's something you need to also know, that Dele Alakori has been the minister of solid minerals. You know, Dele Alakori happened to be one person that people thought would be the minister of communication, or minister of information rather, to help launder the image of thiefnubu in Nigeria. But shockingly, thiefnubu sent him to go and man the Ministry of Solid Minerals. Apart from the crude oil that everybody knows, Dele Alakori has been working with God knows how many of these foreign entities, and they have been stealing and smuggling Nigerian mineral resources, and they have been putting the money in their pockets. What they should have, what I would have expected of them, I don't even know why I'm saying I expected anything from them though, right? Was that they would declare, one, they will put an end to illegal miners mining some of these precious, critical mineral resources in Nigeria. But they didn't do that. Rather, Dele Alakori demanded for his own soldiers, apart from the Nigerian army, the Nigerian police or what have you. Dele Alakori put together his own army that will work with him, and they will go on to protect illegal miners. And since it's going to be them giving them the license to mine in Nigeria, so it will no longer be illegal. So as long as they are getting their cuts and all that, it's been 18 months now. I don't think any of you can really tell us how much you have made from all the mineral resources in Nigeria, apart from crude oil. Not that you can say how much you have made from the crude oil and gas, but from other mineral resources. Dele Alakori has been handling that for thiefnubu. So maybe now they are partnering with France, and there is no disclosure to what or which the mineral resources that France will be drilling from Nigeria. Some said uranium, titanium, tin ore, and what have you. But it will remain a guess, because there is where they have been making their hundreds of millions of dollars. And most of this stuff that France needs, they are in northern Nigeria. And the north themselves, some of their state governors, they are illegal miners too, making money from this. So I'm only saying this now that everyone is pretty much like suspecting France and suspecting a thiefnubu. So somebody said that there is a chance that they did not even read whatever is inside that MOU. So France has pledged to give thiefnubu's government 360 million euro in the next 2 years after they sign this paper they are holding. So what is that money for? No real idea other than what they put in the media. 360 million euros to come and take billions and billions worth of billions of euro worth of mineral resources from Nigeria, and you will never get to know it. You will never know it. As long as you say it is in your own interest, it is in the interest of Nigeria. That is what they said. And I have every right to be suspicious of them, right? I do. And if you want to know one area that thiefnubu and his gang have been making their blood money, it is the mineral resources, solid minerals ministry. And you will never know. We will never know how much of that they are illegally smuggling out of Nigeria, where no single penny. Well, I read it sometimes, I think it was middle of this year. Dele Alakori said something like they've made over $100 million, or they were, I think I read it, I can't remember. They said they are emitting, I think, $100 million from solid minerals. You know, you barely see him. You would hardly see Dele Alakori. You don't see him in the media nowhere, because he's quietly there, where they are like drilling gold. Name it. So we have no idea what they are signing up to France as we speak. But it seems it's a good deal. If you take a look at their faces, it seems to be a good deal. For the next 2 years, they will collect 360 million euros, right? But we don't know what they are going to give in return, other than critical mineral resources is called. Critical. Zulum was on channels this afternoon. And he was talking about the impact of this same tax bill. You see, they are everywhere right now, and it's going to get hotter and hotter. According to Zulum, he said, you'll barely see up to 3 state governors in Nigeria in support of a thiefnubu's tax reform. Yeah, tax reform again. And I don't know how reliable that is. I can tell you that from what I have been seeing everywhere, all day, it's been about like thiefnubu is about to strangulate the North. And they are not just going to go down without a fight. Listen to this.
Is this upsetting leaders in the North?
Yes.
Is it making Tinubu to lose followership in the North?
What I'm telling you now is that
the tax reforms bill as it is right now is passed, it will hurt the North, and that you will not be able to pay salaries. Is that really the fact?
Let me go back to the statement that you made before the break, when you said whether I'm anti-Tinubu administration or something like this.
Those are some of the impressions some people have.
Let me tell you, I'm a strong member of APC. If you can count 2 governors between 2019 to 2023 that were in support of Tinubu, you can mention Professor Zulum. I was the first governor to come out publicly and say that power must go to South. This is the misconception that is ongoing. Unfortunately, the president was told by many that the North are against him.
Is that a fact?
No, it's not a fact. 60.2% of his vote came from North. Are you getting what I'm saying? On this tax issue, there's a lot of misconception. During the neck, we had the neck, and we advised federal government to force for a moment in order to have deeper consultations with stakeholders. That was our own statement. Then later on, people have turned it upside down. But I want you to believe that consultation is central to democracy. This is a beggar's belief that in a democratic setting, we are begging for the right to consult or to be consulted. This is only what has happened. We haven't said anything, but we felt that the provision, VAT provision in the tax law, which clearly stated that VAT allocation should be based on derivation. The proposed bill further stated that 60% of the VAT tax will be shared based on derivation. So I'm not an economist, but based on the calculations that we did, only Lagos State and Rivers State will benefit from this scheme.
Is that a fact? Because I mean, reading through the document and the bills.
Let me finish what I'm saying. However, we have had series of consultations with the FIRS team. I had a meeting with discussions with the governor of Lagos State. Lagos State governor told me that, look, Prof, Lagos will lose a lot if this is implemented. While we did our own research and then concluded that we would lose. Then the matter of the fact is that why are we in rush? We advise the federal government to take a force, expunge some of the clauses in the tax bill that are inimical to the growth and development of not only northern Nigeria, Southeast will be severely affected. South will be severely affected. Even in the Southwest, only Lagos will benefit from this scheme, to our own observation. However, be it as it may be, they said, no, this is not right. But what we are telling them is that give us time. Why are we in rush? Let us force, and then let us do deeper consultation because we are in democracy. So that we should understand the nitty-gritty of this tax regime before passing it to law. This is our bone of contention. And then people are saying, oh, Professor Zulum is against the presidency. This is a democratic setting. Unless people want us to, to do a garrison democracy. Democracy, we have the right to say. But what we told them is that let us take time and evaluate the efficacy of the tax systems before we pass it into law. That does not mean anything. On that particular day of FEC, I don't want to mention a name. Somebody said, Nelfon is not doing well. I raised a question, and I said, no, if there's any one federal government organization that is doing very well, it's Nelfon, as of now in Nigeria. Because up to one university of Maiduguri was paid about 1.2 billion naira. I've never seen this one. Just when I'm coming with my driver, I've seen the level of road construction in FCT. And I also saw the aviation industry, development and agriculture. But it is very important for us to say the right thing. And I'm not withdrawing my statement. To my own observation, if this tax bill is being passed, the North should be shortchanged, the Southeast should be shortchanged, South should be shortchanged, as well as the Southwest. The only state that will benefit is Lagos. Where will all the money go?
Nuisance, Lele.
So Kazigami specifically is against what thiefnubu. Okay, hang on. He said he's not against it. It's just the timing, which ordinarily, in all sincerity, right? This, their bill, was submitted on the 3rd of October. So it's been in the National Assembly for 2 months. So they are saying that they should have given it more time. They should have consulted more. So the NEC, which is I think it's the second biggest advisory body for the executive in Nigeria. So the NEC comprises of the state governors, the royal fathers, the religious body, and all of that kind of thing, right? So they told thiefnubu to withdraw the bill and consult more, which is practically to say, don't do it. If you do this, you are going to put us in financial ruin. But thiefnubu was like, "Una the mad, it is already done." So Shitty Man, who is the vice president to thiefnubu right now, there's actually another story about that one too. There's a story that the guy is filled with so much regret, rage, because they have rendered him almost useless. To the point that whenever thiefnubu is leaving Nigeria, he was supposed to hand over power to him. I don't know what he would have done with it anyway, right? But thiefnubu never even, you know what I mean? To the point that he will always make his own trips. When thiefnubu leaves Nigeria, Shitty Man also wants to leave. So he's a frustrated guy inside thiefnubu's regime as we speak, even though he may likely kind of debunk that. So Zulum is from Borno State, Shitty Man's state. So all this posturing of Zulum has been sort of like pointing fingers at the Shitty Man, even if he's innocent, right? Even if he's innocent, he's still pretty much going to be like, your state governor is leading the charge against what thiefnubu wants. Did you ever kind of talk to him at all? Do you speak with him in any way? Probably we don't actually talk. So Zulum added this. This is the part where he said, you'll barely find 3 state governors in support of what thiefnubu, because thiefnubu is rushing it. It's like they have to pass it. I told you that before, right? That they are saying they will pass it and then they will now consult later. But they are saying that they should consult first before they pass it. Here.
Is this upsetting leaders in the north? Yes. Is it making Tinubu to lose followership in the north?
What I'm telling you now is that democracy is about interest. If Everest team said that we are not losing, we ask them, please let us have more consultation before passing this law. Are you getting what I'm saying? So there's nothing much that I can add. And another provision of the tax law is that by 2029, third fund will be scrapped because companies will cease to support third fund according to the law. I was a lecturer from the University of Maiduguri. I was once a head of a polytechnic, and I know how the educational system in Nigeria benefited a lot from TED Fund. TED Fund is one of the single largest organizations in Nigeria that has supported the educational industry. And the reform is saying that TED Fund will be scrapped in 2029. Naseni will be scrapped in 2029. Why did we create Naseni? Naseni was established in order to boost local production, reducing our dependence on hydrocarbons. But somebody is saying that Naseni will be scrapped in 2029. NIDA will be scrapped. We are now in a digital world. These are some of our concerns. But we believe, when you look at my statement, I said we are pleading to Mr. President to look into the plight of some of the states. This matter is not about North. Some are trying to bring confusion that it's a northern affair. No. It includes the southern, southeast, south. As at now, that you cannot get 3 governors in Nigeria that are in support of this tax law. But what we are saying is that, okay, you are right. If you want to say that this is a new law, let us have time to discuss more about the law and then understand the merits and demerits. Let us withdraw the law, some of the portions, expunge some of the clauses. Yes, we know some people convince us that some portions of the tax law are very important. Are you getting what I'm saying? So this is our major concern. There's some.
I don't want to sit here and reveal all my strategy. I am the first speaker among the 3 of us running. So they will spy on me. So you will have a limited answer here today. Another day you can bring me back. But that's part of what I do.
If we lend ourselves to innovation, we can create wonders. Here is a successful, again, a town hall, different from Blue, Bulaba. All classes, you know what they call F level? When you get failure in all the subjects that you take. F9, F8, F9, F8, FF, double F. That That is his name.
Anarchy loans. Anarchy loans.
So you know what people are saying? If this tax reform is that bad, that is going to affect everyone, why is it that it is only the North that is reacting this way? That's another point, too. Even though it is going to be everyone, why is it that it is only the northern politicians that are triggered? The answer is very simple. There is a chance, right, that the southern part of Nigeria, whose own sort of economic prosperity has been limited simply because the northern part of Nigeria, who have been in power for so long, right, have built Nigeria around their own survival. So, for example, if people are allowed to go and make their own money, like the southern part of Nigeria, where the people importing stuff to Nigeria, the real importers and all that, are from the eastern part of Nigeria, there could be a motivation for them to now fight for the opening up of the eastern port, where some of the imported stuff into Nigeria or so are completely diverted to the east to open up the supposed economic climate of that place, open it up, which can be a window to the future prosperity of that region. And they wouldn't mind, even if they have to suffer for a while. The potential is always there, and they are not afraid to tap it. But for northern part of Nigeria, it's always like, where are we going to start from? Could this be a situation where Nigeria, when I say Nigeria, and I'm talking about the rest of Nigeria, is going to leave us to go and face our own challenges and solve our problems ourselves, or what? A situation where they do not find palatable. Here you get. There are many agencies of government, most of them duplicated agencies and all of that. And most of these agencies are populated by the northerners. The number one employment, or the highest employer of labor in northern part of Nigeria, has been the government work, where most of them are doing nothing, just sharing money. So inside that bill, true, some of these agencies set up to normally to tackle some certain problems in northern part of Nigeria. Some of these agencies will be scrapped, because situation now is going to be whatever we take from your state, all right, either with derivation, population, and all those things, that the three categories of the sharing formula that they are bringing up. We'll give you the money to go and do it yourself. So the federal government will now choose where to spend their money, since it's going to be like sharing ratio, where, you know, for example, right, the federal government can say, we can no longer fund this like about 20, 30 agencies. And that means all the people working there, which is mostly populated by northerners, right, they will have to go and look for something else. or their state can absorb them into their system. So this fear of the free flow of money seems to rattle them more in northern Nigeria, because there are so many federal government agencies, parastatals, that even you in the southern part of Nigeria don't even know they exist. But every year, tens of billions of naira is allocated to them, and the money must be spent, gone. So with this tax reform, so the federal government will actually reset its own priority, and you can go and do whatever you want with the money they give to you. So to those in the south, it is more or less like it's going to be a matter of time, but we can catch up. I'm just saying, like, because what would be the reason why we are not hearing from the southern governors or southern politicians? Every one of them just feel like it's fine. Remember those states I mentioned earlier from the beginning? I have not really heard from states like Bayelsa, Ondo, Taraba, Plateau, Oyo, Kogi, Ekiti, Ebonyi, Borno. Okay, we've heard from Borno. That's Zulum. There's only Borno. We haven't heard from Benue. We've not heard from Akwa Ibom, Cross River, from Abia, from Edo, from Delta. We have not heard from them. Oshun. So is it that maybe we are still going to, or maybe they are kind of like, do not want to go public? Because the people that are voting in support of the bill right now, they are the National Assembly members from all these states. It has passed the first reading, the second reading. Once they do the third one, it becomes the law. Then thiefnubu would have to sign it. Somebody said that, which I don't agree. Someone said that thiefnubu will use that, since the northern Nigeria is rattled already by this bill. Said thiefnubu will use that to negotiate for a second term by not signing it into law. thiefnubu not signing what will give him money into law. Are you joking? The first thing they did when they removed the subsidy was to replace those who are going to be collecting the subsidy from the ones appointed by Bokwari to the ones he appointed. And that's how Ohando became wealthier than they've ever been in their history. They made over $1 billion. Ohando made over $1 billion in a single year, profit, just because thiefnubu became president. So thiefnubu that is already working on now Alpha Beta will be the one collecting all these taxes. By next year, Alpha Beta will be announced as the consultant. And since all of you are already having PTSD over Alpha Beta, they may just float another company, consultancy company, that will be collecting the tax. It may even be Shaguri's consultancy that will be collecting it. And they will be taking their 20% and give the rest to the states. So thiefnubu would not back down on what maybe shall, like as they say, like for a second term in 2027. Again, we can only speculate. But when you put one and two together, sometimes you'll be right. So the North is so rattled than the South. And this is going to affect everyone if you look at it very well. They are selling the idea of, if you are a business that is making less than 50 million naira, you are not going to pay tax. Or if you are they say 90% of workers, they are not going to pay taxes on their VAT. And you believe that. Or they said that there are some food, beverages that they will not pay tax. Do you know that VAT itself is going up to 10% by January? And then it's going to go to 15% by June next year. Are you aware? Right now, it is a 7.5% VAT. That is how much you pay on everything you buy. Your consumption is 7.5%. So by January, it's going to be 10%. By June next year, it's going to be 15% VAT. Maybe before the end of the year, it's going to be 20% VAT. You see all these things that they are promising you and saying that you are not going to be affected and the rest. Everybody's going to be affected though. And it is actually not really going to give more money to anyone per se. But I don't think it's just the North that should be upset. The South should, some states in Southern Nigeria, or maybe they are just playing along and they're waiting for the worst to happen. Because there's nothing that is going to happen that will affect your elite. Your state governors are still going to be living large. Anyway, let's leave that their tax stuff for now then, okay? Yesterday, there's this video that made it to the internet. The first one was a lady who recorded these bags of pure water. And she said there is no water in Lagos, Lekki, Abuja, this island. In Lagos, they had no pipe-borne water. There's no tap water. Their water is not like drinkable. So it's not only that, you can't even use the water for bathing. So the majority of people living in Lagos' most expensive area, on the island, they had to buy pure water every week. Some said every day. Pure water, you have to buy a bag of pure water, right? If you want to shower. And this is the area where people are like the expensive area of Lagos. So Papaya X made a video. And she said she's spending over 60,000 or so naira every week or thereabouts for water. And then we saw another video where some people were destroying these bags of pure water, sachet water. So these two videos made it to the internet. And people said the people destroying the pure water bags, they with Tokumbo, Wahab, because Lagos State is about to ban the sachet water, which they believe has made Lagos pretty much like the dirtiest and all that, littering everywhere. So Wahab came out and said, no, this is not our people. We are not the ones destroying the pure waters. Okay. They said it was the NAFDAC. Others said, oh, there is a protest. There's a protest by the pure water sellers in Lagos. And they told people not to sell because they are protesting. But some people, some of the trucks that you saw them destroy, they were the people that violated that directive of the Association of Pure Water Sellers. Anyway, Wahab said it was the NAFDAC. NAFDAC came out and said, no, it wasn't us. I put all the 3 videos in one, all right? And I'll come back and react to it here.
You guys, I'm back to using pure water to have my bath, to flush and do so many things in the house. Like, you guys don't believe that these are literally 30 bags of pure water. And this is how I use 30 bags every day to cook, to do everything I need to do. Like, I'm tired of Lekki. I'm tired. Imagine machine that I did 2 years ago is now faulty. And now I'm back to using pure water because the machine now costs almost 14 million naira. I did it last 2 years for 6 million naira. Lucky people, what are we gonna do? Like, I am tired. Like, I am seriously tired. Like, I cannot continue using bags of pure water to, cook and do so many things. I can't. I really can't. I'm sorry. I'm tired.
Boss, everything flat.
You are flooding this place because this water will not flow out here. I told you I will close here. Then we will no more sales. Why are you doing this? The whole water will flood the whole compound. I've explained to you. This water was not produced today.
But it seems that you have a personal problem with these people.
My frogs are packed
You have a personal problem.
My frogs are packed here.
What about these people? They go stop. They go stop. They don't go walk. They say they get time.
Now don't say this is the time where they will go now. No. Now don't give
Sunday
them
don't
no.
work. Thank God you're party front today.
Yeah? You think?
Oh my father.
Guys, I'm back to you.
So what kind of country is this? What kind of life is this? It is not as if to say the water was confiscated, right? Or maybe because they're like substandard. So we are confiscating this and we're going to destroy it. No, they just sent out thugs. So the explanation then was that there is an ongoing move to ban sachet water. Well, I've always been hearing that it should be banned. People should stop producing it because the sachet, what do you call it, doesn't really dissolve and it doesn't degrade. So people should stop producing pure water because they always block the drainages and the rest of that. But when it was put out there and people were asking for what was that, what's going on, the Environment Commissioner in Lagos, who should have possibly come and cleared the air, said no, it wasn't his own guys. And then it said it's the NAFDAC. NAFDAC came out and said, no, it's not us. We do not go after the pure water trucks or go into their storage, and no, that's not us. It must be Lagos in that economy. Somebody said it on Mayegun's Diary Politico this morning and said, water don't finally get enemy now. Because when you look at the level of that destruction and all that, if you are a business person in that Nigeria right now, or in that Lagos right now, and you are looking at your production being destroyed, not because of the quality, or because of something that they can't even tell you or they won't tell you. That's the way Nigeria will actually frustrate you, like, you know? Say, water no get enemy, water no get enemy, water don't finally get enemy now. Somewhere in Enugu, a group of travelers were attacked by kidnappers. Some of them escaped, but others were not so lucky, including the Reverend Father, who was taken shortly.
So they succeeded carrying on the Reverend Father. And they are very, because most of them are taking bullets. You know that they carry one person, so they dress up with police uniform. So they were opening the vehicle like this. So I thought it was a police. So one vehicle was in our front. One Hilux, white color, they do the roof. So they fired that one. Now the man went inside there, they started saying, don't the police, and I think that. So those people now gone here and they go see our vehicle now. Now where they begin fire, now we begin open fire. Now where they took themselves run inside it, we begin follow them for the bush. Then the fire will be fire. Till they enter the bush. Why then one don't carry the man, move while we're engaging within ourselves. Carry the man in the car. Then they see the motor there now.
From here, get the fire. I don't have any man.
Okay, you will spray tire for the motor.
Yes.
I say again.
I can't do it.
Who must have got it? We change go the tire. We change again. Can move.
Shall try and stay safe, because according to thiefnubu and Ribadump, they are telling everybody that Nigeria is safer now. You can drive everywhere you want to go. thiefnubu has managed to keep you safe. So I urge you to stay safe. So similarly, in Borno State today, from where Zulum comes from. Why Zulum was on Channels television talking about the reduction in insurgency, in terrorism in Borno State. According to him, he said before now, 22 local government areas were being controlled by the terrorists. But right now, there is no single local government under the control of the terrorists, except some few communities. Today, the terrorist struck while he was at the Channels television studio. They killed 3 people and kidnapped unknown number of people in Borno State today. See that video I just showed you? That one was on the Unsuka Express Road or Expressway in Enugu. So the Reverend Father was taken and a few other people too. So those who were lucky, did you see the amount of policemen guiding the supposed VIP? I'll show you again.
So they succeeded carrying one of the Reverend Father. And they are very, because most of them are looking for them. You know that they carry one person, see, so they dress up with police uniform. So they were opening the vehicle like this. So I thought it was a.
So if you want to travel in Nigeria, you have to go, if you have money, you will need to go and get your own security guys with guns. The police are there for hire. They will give you as many policemen as your money can pay for. All right? And then you provide them with a vehicle so that you can act as your dispatch rider as well as from behind. So that if you run into the terrorists of any kind, at least you have some people with guns too. So you can be paying as much as 100,000 naira every week to each policeman. Because that too, in Nigeria today, is a business opportunity for the supposed police chiefs in Nigeria. So policemen are always like want to be in the good book of their superiors, because every weekend there's always a gig that is outside your station, outside your jurisdiction, which can earn you more money than what the normal police salary will pay you. That is the situation of Nigeria. And if you don't have money, right, you may just be like what your pastor said, or better still, follow the advice of this my brother.
Pastor, pastor, our mojo sticker ló ń show wa. Àṣé kò rí pé orí wa ti burú. Ìwọ má dira o, ìpápá ẹ̀dá orin. Jẹ́ ká wà ní Bible tó ń jẹ. Kò jẹ́ pé sàgbé tàbí kò gbẹ́rì tí kò gbé tí a fẹ́ jókòó tẹ̀ra. Gbẹ́rì tí bá yọ píù. Àwòyí àárín. Mo mọ̀ ní pé wà nínú Bible pé ìbátan fẹ́ mú Jésù kọjá ní àárín òun ògèrí Jésù. Kí ni Jésù lò? Àfẹ́ rí ló lò. Ìwọ má dira, ayé bàjẹ́.
Get it? So what that simply means is that if you are not rich, you may have to go and use your own sangbeto or what have you to protect yourself. And then just probably give your life to Jesus. And see if it will protect you, or else it's just like a fair game. And that is the situation of that tech contraption today. Some might argue against that. They may tell you, no, it is not. I just hope Nigeria won't happen to you. You won't be a victim of a failed country where those who are supposed to keep you safe, they are telling themselves that they have done the greatest job. They've done well. It is only those who don't like them that are complaining. They have done well. The country is safe. So when the country is not, so if you are telling yourself the country is safe, that means you don't really have to do much anymore. And that is where the danger is. Well, I'll leave all of us to what we have shared there this evening, okay? And I'm going to see you again some other time because, yeah, work resumes tomorrow. Happy New Month. Happy December to you. And may this December, as you know, it's going to be like it is the last month of 2024, right? So I hope it pays and it works in your favor. Okay? So tomorrow, work starts tomorrow, right? I will see you tomorrow. We're not taking calls tonight. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your evening. For those who are not already at night, and to those of us who are already at night, sleep tight and have a blessed week. Good night.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Mayegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Lórí Facebook lórí YouTube. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Mayegun máa wí. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Mayegun dayari dayari politico. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Ijó ìgbádìyẹ. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Kí gómìnà kówó jẹ. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Ọlọ́pàá ti ń darí bá. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Òkúrọ̀ olóṣèlú. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o. Mayegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀. Mayegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkanṣá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ṣùgbọ́n ní má ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀ kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀ ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣà ìtú wọn síta.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kí. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kí. ṣùgbọ́n ní má ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
tẹnitẹni ọmọ Máyégún ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́hún ṣọ́ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. èèpo ọ̀bọ̀lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ó ti jọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ bùyà àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o ó kó ẹni tó bá dán o àkàmù Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì o ẹni bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kí. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kí. ṣùgbọ́n ní má ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.